So we have a lot of students, last minute trying to get the applications in, turn in transcripts, things of that nature, so that way they can qualify and receive those scholarships.
Yeah. So I can just imagine what it's like. Let's get to this. You are here today to talk about a virtual sleigh ride, correct?
Yes.
That is going to take place December 20th. And it's going to take place from 2 and 4 p.m. And it's a virtual sleigh ride to explore the campus, also chat about the many student resources that are available, and so much more. So let's get into it. What's this virtual sleigh ride?
So we know that the best way for students and parents to see if a college is the best fit for them is to actually visit it.
Yeah.
So we always encourage students to come take a tour of the campus and visit it. Right now, with the weather being what it is, we decided to offer a virtual version of that particular tour. So from the comforts of your own home, you can view all the buildings on campus. You'll get a guided tour by different students on our campus, telling you about the different buildings, what's in them, resources. You're also going to have an opportunity to apply, where we're going to give you the link to where you can apply to the university, as well as answer whatever questions you may have about the admissions process or any programming that we have to offer.
Now, I think I asked you and Dr. Frank this when you were both here previously, but I talked to people from all over, and a number of people who actually have gone in the past to IUN, and they all often remind me of just how different it is from even when they've gone. And so I'm going to ask you, as an admissions guy, is IUN very sellable? Because it does seem that this is a very unique kind of campus, because while you are missing one of the obvious selling points, which is dormitories and things like that, it just seems like every time I turn around, you all have new programs, new majors, and you have such a diverse group of students. I mean, your student body is absolutely amazing. So how do you, as the admission guy, what are some of the questions, what are some of the things people ask you about the university when they're inquiring about it? Some of the bigger questions.
So some of the biggest things that's going on right now is college debt.
Yeah.
That's what the big thing, the big conversation is, even with the federal government, with forgiving the loans and things of that nature.
Do you think that's going to go through?
I hope it do. I have a few of the loans myself, so fingers crossed it does go through, so we can get that to happen. But in regards to IU Northwest, we are the most affordable four-year institution in the state of Indiana.
Yes.
So, especially for residents in Gary and Northwest Indiana, I like to think of it as a hidden gem.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting a quality education, you're getting a quality education at a fraction of what you will pay at other institutions.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing, the cost. And then the programming. Everything from our healthcare, having the only medical school in Northwest Indiana, which is big.
Yeah, you all are getting an endowment, I believe, of some $30 million or something that was announced the day before yesterday to the medical school. I don't understand why people don't really understand that.
It's a hidden gem. That's one of the reasons we're here.
We're
promoting it, trying to get it out so that the community knows that we have so much to offer them.
Right.
Even by way of the arts.
Yes.
We have an amazing arts program where students can major in theater.
Yeah.
As well as music and other things, graphic design. So a lot of these programs you wouldn't think would be offered at a public institution.
Exactly.
It's right there in their backyard, where students can go, and those students who are interested in the arts get a top-notch quality education, which is affordable. Yeah,
absolutely. And we're talking to Mr. Hawkins from Indiana University Northwest. You and I think we've talked about this before, but you talk about hidden gem, and I want to ask you, as somebody that is in higher education and every year sees people who are trying to better themselves, see students who are trying to submit their applications, their high school transcripts and things like that. And also, you're somebody that is not naive to what's going on around you in the city of Gary and the surrounding areas. What are some of the things that the university can do? Because I do know you all have done a lot to link up with the Gary Community School Corporation and provide a lot of early access, whether it be through dual course programs or AP programs, we used to call them, and things like that. But what can be done more, in particular in our community? I was talking with Mr. Stephen Mays earlier today. He was on the show, and we were talking about the fact that there's a new study that says basically like 6 or 7 out of every 10 African American women are going to school, and now we're down to 1 or 2 out of every 10 African American men are going on to higher education. And so what can be done to go out here as a university that is right here in the middle of the, quote, community, to go out here and just let people know how accessible you are? I mean, just spitball off the top of your head.
I think one of the biggest things is not only cost. Another thing that's hindering higher education is the fact that most individuals don't see the value in it.
Yeah.
I know before the biggest thing was you go to college to get a good job and you retire and you're good to go.
Right.
Well, they're seeing in our community, especially in our communities where, our parents may not have went to college, or grandparents or uncles or older
Right.
siblings, and they may be doing okay. They may have been able to purchase a home and do things to where they are successful by right. But in the long run, college is giving you more than just that education piece, so you can get a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than that. It's the idea of stepping out of your comfort zone. It's meeting new people, opening your eyes, experiencing different things. I tell students all the time, the very first time I ever went out of the country was because of college.
Yeah.
I did a study abroad opportunity when I was in college.
Where'd you go?
I went to Nicaragua.
Oh.
So, I don't think that I would have ever experienced that if I didn't go away to college.
Right.
If I didn't have the opportunity to get a passport and, go and fly and travel.
What was your course study for Nicaragua? What was that about?
So it was a service learning project.
Okay,
so
okay.
I have a bachelor's in social work.
Yeah.
So we went over there and we helped the community by building sanitation stations and helping them get fresh water
Right.
into the communities. So little things like that you don't think about is like, travel pieces as far as, traveling, meeting people, networking by, we have guest students, guest speakers and lecturers on campus all
Right,
the time.
right.
People that you will probably never get an opportunity to meet. You can meet them at a college campus, So it's just the overall experience of.
Do you find yourself personally getting involved in these conversations? Because as I'm sitting across from you and listening, and when you brought up your major, I go back to think about one of the arguments that is, when we were talking about student loan debt, and I heard this, a while ago, and it's a problem really that, we can't solve here on the show. It has to do with the rising cost of higher education, just period, point blank. And a good analogy that was put out there was a young man who was going out here in a 4-year degree from a school like Stanford, for instance, and he was majoring in social work. And Stanford's a very beautiful college, things like that. And I think it was like a $92,000 degree that he paid for to go there. And when he came out, the maximum that he could gain or that he could be employed with just a straight 4 years social work degree, I think was somewhere around 56 or 58. And so he would have to go back and get a master's, blah, 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 blah. And that was always the argument in which that was being used, that maybe there's this third rail factor out here that is kind of adding on to the burden and debt and also kind of working against higher education because the costs are going unchecked and it's not staying in line with the majors. And when you can come out, because we all know the story, a lot of our classmates, a lot of people, even some of us, are not necessarily working in our majors in which we paid for. So I'm sure you have to deal with that on a regular basis.
Absolutely. I think the conversation needs to change. I think a lot of times we're asking high school students what it is you want to major in.
Thank you.
What do you want to go to school for?
Thank you.
Versus the conversation of what is it you want to do once you gain your degree?
Right.
What is it that you want to do? And through those conversations, I found a lot of times students have no idea. They come to me and they say, well, I want to go to school and become an engineer. Okay, well, what type of engineer? Well, I'm not sure.
Right.
Well, what do you want to do with it once you graduate? Well, I'm not sure. So do you really want to become an engineer, or is that just something that you thought of or someone put in your head because of maybe the cost of what an engineer can do?
You just hit it on the head.
May be.
And so are there guys like you? I mean, I'm not even, we know that things are a little different now. When I was in school, and I'm dating myself, but the guidance counselor was somebody that kind of elaborated on those conversations a little bit more than what we hear about now. Now you're right. They do kind of drop everything on a young person's lap and ask them to fill this in and make a choice because you got a deadline coming, and then at that point in time, they kind of come before you. And you seem like you're a very compassionate person, but I know if you're busy or whatever, you can't sit down and have that individualistic conversation and counseling service that you might have with some people, but not with all. And so as we kind of look forward, because I do see a vacuum here, what should we do? What should colleges and universities, what should admissions programs at colleges and universities do in order to kind of help young people, because once you set foot on that campus, it's a little bit dog eat dog. And if you're not really prepared or you don't have anybody to help you navigate, you can easily wash out or find yourself under, under the 8 ball in 2 semesters.
Yeah, I think going back to that old question that you used to ask, if there's one thing you can do for the rest of your life and you do for free,
Yes.
what would it be?
Yes. Yeah.
Going back to that, we have a program, we have Vita Novice on the campus where students can actually go through, it's like a personality assessment where they'll go through and ask questions and things of that nature to try to find out what's interesting to them, what their interests
I like
are.
that.
But not only does it give you an idea of what you should do, it also gives you a list of programs that we offer that you might want to consider.
Right.
So for someone, going back to that student said engineering, once they complete all this, it may say, you know what, you may be more, you're more of a compassionate person. You might want to look into a career in social work, counseling, or et cetera, et cetera. And it'll give them the majors that we offer at IU Northwest that will align with that particular program.
I want you to put your headphones on real quick because we got some phone calls. But I'm not just saying this because you're here. But out of all the colleges and that I've been, IUN, and I took a couple of classes at IUN when I was in high school, AP classes, but I never went there. But you all seem like one of the more compassionate schools, in particular when it comes down to the administrative staff. It seems like if you have a student that has gotten enrolled, or he or she is kind of losing their way, or becomes overwhelming and things like that, you all offer this kind of ambiance or this kind of feeling that you will work and you will help people out, and you don't have a lot of what's your retention rate? I guess that's what I would ask. Most students who enroll tend to stay with you, don't they?
We would like to believe so. Of course, that's something that can always be improved.
Yeah.
Retention rate, but that's a issue that's over the entire campus.
Yeah, I would.
As a whole, we all have to work on that. Collectively. But as far as getting them in, yes, you have to have the compassion. You have to be real with students, parents, and just let them know this is what is going on. This is what I believe will be best for you.
Yeah.
Give them the options to decide.
Absolutely.
We get it all the time from Dr. Frink. She'll tell you, you have a student, and if IU Northwest isn't the best fit for them, it may not be the best fit for them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to do something beyond high school.
Yeah.
What does that looks like? What is that plan? And we can help them with it.
I like that. I really do. And
it
feels very sincere. It really does. That's why I just kind of wanted to point that out. But I tell you what, let's go ahead and get a phone call. Caller, hey, good morning. You're on with Indiana University Northwest. Mr. Hawkins, hey.
Good morning, Jeff. Once again, good morning, Mr. Hawkins.
Can you hear? Sure, give him those headphones. Repeat it over again. I don't think he can hear you. Can you hear him now?
Okay. Good morning, Jeff. Once again, good morning, Mr. Hawkins.
Good morning.
I'd just like to ask this question. When we talk about education and black males going to college, it seems like to me that there's an attack on a black male, even if we have degrees, even if we have bachelors and everything, that today's woke community would rather hire a female before they hire a male. Myself, I went to college, I did 2 years, and I found out it wasn't for me. And I went into a trade that I love, which is auto mechanic, and I'm my own business on it for over 17 years. As a matter of fact, I heard that you worked at IU Northwest. One of your colleagues, Mr. James Watt, Dr. James Watt, is a good friend of mine, and we had this discussion of college versus trade school. In this world today, I have a bunch of friends who have degrees and they have that ER in front of their name and don't make the money that the average person in a trade makes. I'm not down in the colleges or anything like that, but I think colleges now are just about money. Because, as I heard Mr. Smith say about a guy coming out of college, well, anybody coming out of college, you're coming out of college in debt. And then you're not making the money that you spent to get that degree. Now you have to go back for another degree and a bachelor's and this and that. Look at trade school. I came out of trade school. making more than I spent going in. And that's not down in the colleges or anything. But my thing is this: when I look at colleges, I look at money.
Okay.
You know, it is.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you hear that. That's modern conversation now. We were kind of talking about it with the skills, the economy right now at least, and things go in cycles, ebbs and flows, and it does seem to be a more skills-oriented economy. And I would attribute a lot of that to the tech industry, to be honest with you. But what are your thoughts? You're out there in the front lines.
Well, the biggest thing is we're not opposed to trade schools at all.
Yeah.
Firm believer in you need to do something.
Yeah.
Whether that is a trade, whether that is going to college, whatever it may be, you need additional education. So we do have that a lot where students will say, well, college isn't for me. That's fine
Yeah.
if you tried it.
Right.
If you haven't tried it,
How do you know it's
how
not
do
for
you
you?
know it's not for you?
Right.
And I think a lot of times we use that as a cop out and say, well, it costs too much. It's not for me.
I don't like school.
I don't like it. I didn't like high school. Why would I go and continue
Yeah,
college?
and pay for it.
Exactly. But college is totally different.
Yeah.
But that's going back to that mindset of you go to college to get a job, to live a good life, get, retire, et cetera, when it's more than it's not just academics.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize, that it's not just the academic piece of why you go to college.
No, because I'd like you to explain. I know it seems like time is just getting out of hand. We don't have a lot left. I want to go back and reiterate about the virtual sleigh ride. But this is what I was talking to you about earlier, and this is something I found very unique about Indiana University Northwest, is because I've always kind of had conversations that I do believe. I went to two universities, Hampton and Tuskegee, and there is a difference, I personally have believed, in the university experience and then those people that go to college. I mean, and one's not better than the other. The college experience is essentially, a lot of times you're going there, you're kind of understanding what it is you're doing, you're trying to get better skills, or you're going to get your business degree or what have you. A lot of times maybe you're even commuting. While that university experience is everything that you just got through selling. I mean, I ended up meeting new friends. I learned about met people from places I didn't know. Had my politics change and expanded, and all kinds of things that is part of the, the overall overreaching aspect of the university. And while on the outside, and this is what's crazy about IUN, because I grew up here in Gary and all that stuff, on the outside, I would look at that as a college, but over the years, I've realized it is a lot more. It's more of a university than anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I can just share a little bit about my history.
Please.
When I first graduated high school, the plan was go to college.
Right.
And just like everyone else is like, what do you want to major in? Me, it was business.
Yeah.
Why? Because I figured business is how you make a lot of money.
That's what everybody
And
thought.
my plan was to make a lot of money and rule the world. That was it.
Yeah.
That was my life.
Right.
Simple. And went off to college, took my first econ class, and was like, man, this is not what's up. If I got to pass this class, get the degree, that's not what's happening.
Right.
So long story short, I ended up coming home. I didn't finish. Mom was like, hey, you're 18, you got to either go to school or military or get in the workforce. Went to the workforce and start working, job after job that I didn't care for. Yes, I was making a lot of money,
Right.
but I didn't like the job.
Right.
So eventually it came to the point to where next level, I have to have that piece of paper.
Yes.
That's what I called it at the time.
Yeah.
To get me to that next level. So I did enroll in the community college, went that route, graduated, and then went to transfer to a university.
Yeah.
Graduated. So I did eventually realize, you know what, I do need this degree. Not saying that everyone has to have it, but at the same time, you have to have some form of additional training,
Yes.
additional education.
Yeah.
I want those individuals who are sitting there with the cop out, well, it's not for me.
Virtual sleigh ride once again is December 20th at 2 and 4 p.m. So it's two separate sessions.
Two separate sessions. You can register online at iun.edu/visit.
Yeah.
Register for the event and attend. We actually have a free gift for you.
Oh.
So if you attend, you do receive a gift. For those of you who are 21st century scholars, attending this does complete one of those scholar track requirements.
Yeah.
In regards to visiting a university, this does count for that. And like I said, we want individuals to come, parents, bring the entire family, get around the screen and log in, grab your favorite beverage, and relax, and
You
get a
sure
tour
about
of the
that?
campus. your favorite warm beverage,
Okay, there
coffee,
you go. Okay,
tea,
well,
hot
that's
cocoa.
all right, okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a good opportunity for you to actually see the campus from the comfort of your own home. So for those listeners who are listening and you never step foot on IU's campus, this will be a good opportunity for you to just tune in and see what we have to offer you.
I agree, my friend. Let's get a final phone call quickly. We got to get out of here. Caller, how you doing?
Hey, Jeff, I just want to let him know that I'm not against colleges or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I understand what he said about going to college and not just about the education, because what a lot of people was about the partying. Why they couldn't finish. You might have someone who has a wife that works at IU,
Mm-hmm.
who has a son who graduates from IU in Northwest. I understand where he's coming from. And like he said, if you haven't been there, you can't knock something you ain't never did. I've been to college. I know it wasn't for me, but it may be for some people, but it's not for all.
Okay.
So we just weigh our.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. I'm sure we appreciate that. And so, with that being said, go ahead and give us some final words before we go off into the holiday sunset.
I'm gonna keep it real simple, man. For